Hello again, Struck Quab. Today I'm bringing you another build video for Torchlight 3, and this one is the Train Railmaster Blood Drinker build. It's a very interesting build. It's not gonna be as high damage as a Miasmic Train Bane build, but it has a ton of survivability. If you want to skip ahead, you can use the timestamps, or you can just use the chapters on the YouTube player Sigbar. So let's talk about what this build is kind of centered around. It's centered around generating as much energy as possible, as quickly as possible, so we can use Dance of Death and Drain as soon as we can. Spamming Drain has a chance to return some energy via using the currently still working arc powered legs, but later this would need to be done via the ancient ember leg armor pants. So by that you can use Drain and get half of the cost back as energy, but using that energy keeps recharging Dance of Death, and when we use Dance of Death we get good DPS. Here's what we can do if we have everything ready for a boss fight. A quick nice burst. And next you're gonna see a boss where, well, I didn't have everything ready and I didn't play it well, and the boss took much longer than it should have, especially when the Flamethrower Car is randomly shooting at the little guys instead of shooting at the boss. And we definitely need a button to tell our minions to attack a specific target only. But yeah, the build is fun. It's got a ton of survivability. You heal while you do damage with Drain. You heal with Living Barrier even at level 1. I've included Rupture, but there's versions of how to play it without Rupture. And you're using the blades for cutting to generate more energy quicker and to get stronger basic attacks. When they fix some things such as the broken basic attack affixes, this build might become a little bit stronger, not much. It's still not gonna bring it to the level of a Bane Train build, but it's still gonna be nice. Now let's talk about the skills. Here we are at the skills segment where I talk about what skills you would take and at what level you would put those skills and why. So I'm gonna start with the slammer side of things and with some of the important things I always take in my builds. Those 3 skills I always take in my builds, even if I don't use them as active, such as Lantern Flash. I don't use as active every time. Sometimes I just use it as a passive for the tier 2 bonus. I always take tier 2 Lantern Flash. If you're not taking tier 2 Lantern Flash as a passive, you're losing 65% extra damage, because getting enemies sword is not hard. Bosses is a different story. For bosses you would need to use Spike Drive even without putting a point into it. If you have the bonus 2 levels from your Cosmic set, you can still equip it the same way I have and use it to slow bosses, so you can do 65% extra damage. Otherwise, you just use a shield or an offhand such as a focus with chance to slow, and that makes it much easier to get that 65% extra damage. So normally I go and get Lantern Flash very early in the game when I can to tier 2. Blasting Charge, you don't have to get the tier 2 bonus, but the tier 1 bonus in my opinion is a must-have. It increases that vulnerability by a lot, and it makes it much better for you. In fact, you can see this right now. I think maybe it's broken, because it used to make it from 25 to 30% additional damage for 6 seconds with the 20%, because 20% on 25 used to give us that increase to up to 30. Right now it's probably increased, buffed that skill, because now I get 45% extra damage, and that 45% extra damage with this 65 is 110% extra damage to enemies that are vulnerable and swallowed, blinded or stunned at the same time. So Blasting Charge tier 1, Lantern Flash tier 2 must have. Tier 3 Hammer Spin for me is a must have. If you don't want tier 3, at least get tier 1 or even tier 2 if you want bonus damage to relic skills. I normally take this very early. How I level the skill, I'm gonna on the skills in a moment about leveling the build. Now let's go to the conductor side of skills. you go for Flamethrower Car tier 3. Must have, I won't suggest going lower than tier 3 Flamethrower Car. Must have build train tier 2 to get extra 20% damage to Flamethrower Car. Now on the relic side of things, I've got 42 points. Those 5 and those 5 are flexible. This one is, it's just fewer. I didn't have where to put the points, so I put it here. So I would go max level drain, max level dance of death, 1 level living barrier, max level energizer, and max level blades for cutting. And this are optional. If you remove those, rupture and bloodletter, you can have 10 points. With this one you can have 11 points. And maybe you can remove 3 points from here and keep it at tier 1, and that's 14 points, which means you can put 12 of those points for here, and maybe for here. Additionally, when they fix it, Shocking Rounds tier 2, sometimes it gives me the bonus damage, sometimes I will return from a map and that bonus damage would be missing, so that's why I just don't use Shocking Rounds tier 2, but ideally I would want it in that build. So this makes Flamethrower Car attack faster. This makes Flamethrower Car and other things have faster cooldowns. So very good tier 2 bonuses. This one makes Flamethrower Car have 10% more crit chance, but I don't think this goes over the cap of 40% crit chance. So keep that in mind if you invest into Shield Car tier 2. So as I said, those can be taken or not. If you take them, maybe it would be better to get bloodletter before rupture, so you would have some chance to bleed. But if your weapon gives you chance to bleed, bloodletter is it could be removed in total. You can still keep rupture, just remove the bloodletter and use a weapon with chance to bleed, and that would open up some room. But if you want extra chance to bleed, keep bloodletter and the bleeding weapon for even more rupture, which is exactly what I want to do. I wanted to get a sword with chance to bleed and flag damage, and stack the bleeding from the sword with the bleeding from bloodletter chance, and get rupture to proc more often. So that pretty much is one thing. Another thing you can consider is flying picks to make the enemies bleed for more ruptures, but that would mean sacrificing something from the skill bar. So how do you level this build? Everyone starts with build train level 1. At level 2 I strongly suggest going for a blasting charge. At level 3 I would get spinning blade. Then at level 4 I would save my points, so that with the 2 points at level 5 I get hammer spin level 3. At level 6 and all the way until level 10 I would save my points, so that at level 10 I can get lantern flash level 6. But that means I would have to start looking for chance to swallow shields or offhands or weapons. Then you have two choices. Either go for maxing out drain first or maxing out Flamethrower Car first. I would suggest stick to spinning blade for now, maybe use Egg of Mayhem if you get it, and save your points until level 20 for Flamethrower Car level 10. Ideally you want at level 20 Flamethrower Car level 10. If you have Respectacles, you can get Drain and other things such as Living Barrier early on, but at level 20 you want to have this one at level 10, this one at level 1, so that's 11 points. You want this one at level 1, that's 12 points. You want this one at level 6, that's 18 points. And you want this one at level 3. So what did that make? That's I lost my count. So let's say 10 points here, that's 10. Then 6 points here, 16. 3 points here, 19. And 1 point here, that's 20. And then 1 point here, that's 21. And then you can maybe get 1 point here, that's 22. And then 1 point here, that's 23. And you have a total of 24 points at level 20. So that means you can probably put one more point into Drain, meaning you have to remove the points from Spinning Blade to get that. Or you can keep putting Spinning Blade until you have the confidence that it's time to switch to Drain. So from this point onwards, you're pushing towards drain. You're maxing out drain, and once drain is maxed out, then you can start maybe putting tier 1 or tier 2 over here, and then you might start putting towards tier 2 blasting charge, and even before that maybe you can consider tier 2 build train, and eventually the final things in the final pieces of the puzzle would be rupture, bloodletter, and blades for cutting. So you would probably get Energizer much sooner, and eventually you would max out this one. But yeah, that's kind of hopefully good information regarding how to level up the build. Next we're gonna talk about the Legendarium, and keep in mind I will mention this as well in the next segment with the gear, but currently certain legendary items are bugged and don't give you certain stats. Actually every single legendary item cannot get flat physical, ice, poison, and any other element, fire, electric, etc. You can get flat damage on legendary weapons and armors, and you cannot get percent elemental damage on legendary armors. So certain affixes that blue items can get, legendary items cannot, even they're supposed to. That means for now my build is not really ideal, but the ideal setup would be, I would mention it quickly, wearing Cosmic Helmet, Cosmic Breastplate, Cosmic Gauntlets, which leaves you with Ancient Ember, the new set, as shoulders, boots and legs. And let's look at the Legendarium, why I want those powers equipped. This one is good synergy with Dance of Death, good synergy with Drain, which is amazing, and then this one gives us another skill. Which means in the Legendarium you want the Doom Pipe ideally, the Ancient Ember Chest, and maybe something like the Berserk Crusher or the Centrifugal Demolisher. I would suggest not using Blast Breaker, because I used Blasting Charge to spend endurance, so I can recharge Spike Drive. Because if I use Flamethrower Car, I'm not gonna use endurance. So let's show you quickly on the dummy. See, I used my Spike Drive. Boom, Blasting Charge, and Spike Drive is ready. To use again to this wall. That's why I want it. So Flamethrower Car is not gonna do it. Flamethrower Car just doesn't do this. It doesn't use endurance with Doom Pipe. So you want Doom Pipe here. You want ideally the Ancient Ember Chest, and you would want something like the Berserk Crusher or the Centrifugal Demolisher or the Cosmic Boots, which is not a bad choice as well. Alternatively, if you're not wearing the Cosmic, not the Cosmic but the Ancient Ember Boots, if you don't want to sacrifice a skill slot, then you would wear the Ancient Ember Chest, which would mean you would have to swat the Cosmic Breastplate, which would mean you would have to wear the Cosmic Gauntlets. The Cosmic Boots, I mean, not the Gauntlets. So that's the other choice. Right now you can use Arc Powered Pants as a replacement to the Ancient Ember, because they give you the same skill. But what the developers did is they put the Arc Powered Pants skill on the Ancient Ember, and the Arc Powered Pants are supposed to get a new skill very soon with the patch. So for now you can still use them because they're okay, but I would avoid getting two more pieces for the 3-piece bonus together. But Doom Pipe is a must-have, by the way. Doom Pipe is a must-have. Don't play it without Doom Pipe. Try and get it as soon as you can, and good luck with the drops with the Doom Pipe. So that pretty much is it for the Legendarium. Pet skills would be next. For the pet skills I keep it simple. I always get the healing, and in most cases I would get the Deadliest Strike, because I want crit chance. Crit chance to you and nearby allies 15%. The cap is 40, you can never get more than 40% crit chance. So keep that in mind when considering whether to use or not Deadliest Strikes. So with that in mind, the rest is up to you. I use Immobilizing Strike. I'm not using the synergy with Stun, because I think this is more useful to me as a melee build, close range build, to keep the enemies nearby rooted instead of them running away from me. And I like using Battle Cry, but you might want to use Defensive Posture, you might want to use Necro Pupper, whatever. I strongly suggest never removing the healing skill here though. And that pretty much is it. Next I'm gonna talk about the gear. Here we are at the segment where I talk about what items and with what affixes you would want to equip. Keep in mind right now there are certain things that are broken and legendary items cannot get every single affix. So for example on legendary chest you cannot get something like... where is it? I had one here, I'm gonna try and show you. Something like flat damage and percent elemental damage. And that looks like this. See, this one gives me flat physical. This flat physical could be also flat poison, fire, electric, ice, etc. Any type of damage can roll, but only on blue items. So legendary items cannot get this. And on top of that, blue items can also get percent of the same one. And if you get lucky, you can get, for example, a chest with 900 or 950 physical, and then another 9% physical, and stack it with legs that get the exact same stats, and then boots that give you 9% more physical, and just stack 3 times 9% physical and so on. I'm gonna quickly list the things that can roll on blue chest and on legendary chest, and then the same for legs and boots. So on legendary chest you can get percent damage with Flamethrower Car, which is stronger than 900 or 1000 flat damage. You can also get bonus crit damage. But what you cannot get on legendary and can get on blue along those two is, as I mentioned, the flat damage and the elemental damage, which can be of the same type if you're lucky. On legendary legs you can still get Flamethrower Car damage. You cannot get crit damage, you can get crit chance. But on blue ones, on top of the crit chance and Flamethrower Car damage, you can also get flat damage and elemental. Elemental flat damage and elemental percent damage. Then what you can get on legendary boots. You can get crit damage, you can get things like endurance again, etc. But you cannot get the percent elemental right now. So hope this is clear regarding why I'm hoping certain things will get fixed soon, so we can have more customization and being able to equip 3 pieces legendary of one set with 3 pieces legendary of another set. Now on a sword or any other weapon, if it's blue you can get things like this flat fire damage, or like this flat ice or flat physical. On legendary one-handed weapons in the middle of the item card you cannot get this flat damage. You can get a whole bunch of other things like crit chance, crit damage, skills, skill points to a certain skill, and all sorts of things like chance to bleed, etc. But you cannot get that flat, and that makes it very unattractive to use a legendary weapon right now for almost every single build. Until certain things like that are fixed, I would suggest using a blue weapon. So ideally you would have a blue weapon either like this one, but a sword, flat damage at the top, flat in the middle, and flat at the bottom, or flat damage at the top, again a sword, flat damage in the middle, plus percent chance to bleed for X seconds, for X damage per second, which for the love of God, I couldn't get this. I couldn't get this chance to bleed. I've been farming, trying to get a sword with flat and a socket, or flat bleeding and a socket. Right now you can see I'm using this flat plus damage to goblins. But yeah, that would be the preferred choice. A weapon like this, but instead of damage to goblins, another flat or chance to bleed. Then you would have a shield with high defense over 10,000 and block chance at the top, and then in the middle it must have chance to swallow, so we can proc lantern flash, and then at the bottom on the socket you would want elemental defense or regular defense, and in the middle for the second affix you would want another elemental defense or regular. Ideally, let's say my fire damage is high, but I'm lacking some some electric. Ideally I would want a shield with electric damage next to the swow, and then some poison damage in the bottom with the socket, or vice versa. Just try to compensate what you are whacking from the sockets. So if this one has a certain element wrote on it, and another one I've got plenty from other places, from other items, of course I would wanna get the third one that I'm whacking as a resistance, as a defense from the socket. So use the sockets to make up what you're missing. The same way how I've used poison here, how I've used fire here, and how I've used regular here, but instead of the regular here maybe I can just use electric. So see, I've used regular here, but instead of the regular maybe I can use poison. Yeah, if I put electric here and poison here, but the thing is I like keeping my regular defense above 40-45%. That's why I've stopped on this regular, which is a very high row, 4.7k regular defense. This one is not really high. I can probably get it to 3 or 4,000 if I keep rolling. And this one is probably not high. I can probably get it to 5,000, maybe more. But yeah, try to get enough defenses. So what you would really want on your shoulders is bonus crit damage and bonus damage with Flamethrower Car. It can roll on shoulders as well as chest as well as legs. You want Flamethrower Car damage on the chest, on the legs and on the shoulders ideally. It's stronger than flat damage, it's stronger than percent damage. So on the shoulders, crit damage and Flamethrower Car damage is the best thing you can get. And then fill in the rest with defenses. Defenses would be nice. Then on the helmet you would want crit chance, maybe relic energy generation, then defenses, or maybe skill points to a certain skill that you have invested more than 1 point into. Then on the chest you would want crit damage and Flamethrower Car damage. On the legs you would want crit chance and Flamethrower Car damage. On the boots you would want crit damage and something else. It could be endurance, it could be other things. On the gauntlets you would want defenses and maybe more chance to block, but something that's very good would be chance to bleed for that build, and we already mentioned those two. So ideally, for my ideal setup, the way I want to play the build with that new skill from the boots of the Ancient Ember set, I would wear Cosmic Helmet, I would wear a Cosmic Breastplate with good rolls on it, and I would wear good rolled Cosmic Gauntlet. So those three pieces would be Cosmic. The shoulders, the boots and the legs would be Ancient Ember. Why? Let's show you why. Let's show you the skills on those. So Ancient Ember is casting Dance of Death, gives us 50% chance to gain a random shrine effect, and the chance is increased to 100% when we have the whole set. Then the pants give us 10% chance when casting Drain to gain 25 relic energy, which gets doubled to 20% chance with the set. And with the boots we get an active skill which we can put in on our skill bar, which gives us fully recharged relic energy and resets the relic skill cooldowns, such as Living Barrier. And with the set we also get fully recharged and usable Dance of Death. So pretty nice, pretty nice. It's like a battery. Alternatively, if you don't want to use the boots, then consider using the Ancient Ember chest. If you're using the boots, then the Ancient Ember chest goes in the Legendarium, as I mentioned in the previous segment. And yes, if you're using the Ember chest, that means the Cosmic Breastplate needs to go here. So keep that in mind and just rework things and maybe equip the Ancient Ember gloves or something else to keep getting that bonus. But in general, that's what it is. So those three pieces are Cosmic, Helmet, Chest, Gauntlets, the rest Ancient Ember, and then you're putting in the Legendarium the Ember chest with the Doom Pipe and one more item. For the pet items, you would want the Dryad Neckband with pet attack speed and cooldown for the pet active skills. The pet attack speed makes the healing of the Dryad Neckband proc more often, because more pet hits means more healing for you and the pet. Then the faster cooldown for the pet active skills means more healing from the pet healing skill. Those two things, the pet attack speed and the faster cooldown for pet active skills, you would want them on your pet tags. Whatever pet tag you're using, regardless of the base, ideally you would want pet attack speed and faster cooldown for pet active skills over here at the bottom. So some good bases that I really like using are Token of Rapid Bartering, especially when I'm collecting stuff and giving it to the pet to bring it to the town for gold. Another one that I really like using is Token of Invigoration, which gives us on pet hits again synergy with the attack speed, 10% chance to refresh cooldown of pet active skills. Pretty decent. If you don't want Token of Rapid Bartering, there's other choices like the Phoenix token if your pet is dying often and you want it to return quicker, or some of the Novas. They won't be bad choices either. Anything else you want, as long as you get the attack speed and the cooldown, you should be fine. So that pretty much is it for the pet gear, and next I can show you some more gameplay footage. And this is the segment where we talk about the build, how to rotate certain skills, although there's not that much of a rotation here, and in general showing you more of the build in action. As you can see, I'm using only Flamethrower Car from the train, so it's not that big of a train setup. And as you can see, I'm also still for this build using Spike Drive to make sure I can slow down bosses for the extra tier 2 bonus from Lantern Flash. In general, the way I do it is I would either lead in with Blasting Charge if I don't have Endurance, and then follow by Spike Drive, or I could sometimes do Spike Drive first and then Blasting Charge if Spike Drive is already recharged. Although leading in with Blasting Charge before Spike Drive might be better, because even at level 1 Spike Drive can do some okay damage and get rid of a ton of trash mobs. After that, what I normally try to do is to immediately use Flamethrower Car, and then if I've got some energy I would move on to Drain. If I don't, I would do a few basic attacks until Drain is ready, and basically what I'm doing until Flamethrower Car is back in cooldown, I'm spamming basic attacks and spamming Drain in between when it's ready. And I'm also using blades for, not blades for cutting, but the Dance of Death whenever it's ready as well. So yeah, just make sure you're slowing the bosses and applying vulnerability so that you can burst them quickly. And hopefully your Flamethrower Car is not like mine and starts shooting at the boss ads instead of the boss. It just doesn't prioritize the right target. In general, again, there's ways to rework it, removing the leading barrier, which actually I forgot to mention. Use it whenever you need extra healing, or whenever you want to just face tank for a couple of seconds, for 3 seconds in one place. It's gonna help you, but removing that would allow you to put the skill in its place, the skill from the boots, from the Ancient Ember boots. That lets you get 100 energy and get 200 energy charge and reset the cooldowns of other things. To get notified when I upload more content like this or similar for this game or other games like it, such as Wooters of all varieties, you could subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button to not miss out on notifications, and optionally you can even join as a member of the Struck Club and get access to emotes, badges or other perks such as private tutorials and things like that. And I would like to use this part of the video to thank the people who are currently YouTube members of the Struck Club. Thanks for watching this video, keep it cool, and until next time, Struck Club. Goodbye.